Awesome. Okay. Hey, everybody. Happy Monday night. I love seeing all these faces. For those that get on every single week, I now I see the faces and names, and it's become a connection. Before we even begin anything, I want you guys to really not while I'm talking, because I want you to pay attention, of course, but scroll through the names, and these are the people that show up. If you feel like you need more connection, these are the people to connect to because they show up, right? Because that's what you need in an accountability partner, in a buddy, and a friend. Take note. Okay. Okay. That's the first thing. That has nothing to do with the call. But I love seeing these faces, even people that I don't know. I'm like, oh yeah, I know there. And so I see your things on Facebook, and I love it. I love it. Anyway, hope you guys all had a happy Mother's Day. I know most of you guys, if not all, are moms. So hopefully you guys had a very happy Mother's Day. Um, and in the chat, I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions, but in the chat, if you could put how long you've been with Plexus, there's a reason behind it. But just type in how many years, just put a number, how many years or months or something like that have you been with us? Right, 10 plus. I've been 10 plus. Um, 10, 10, 7, 6. I love it. Yes. So there's a whole lot. And even Wendy, who's a year and 3 months, you're an oldie too, because you've been with us for a while. So all these people that are on the call that have been on for a year or more, do you feel that you have had a success so far? If you've had a success, yes, I've had a success. Put that in the chat as well. And let me tell you, everyone has had a success, I'm sure. Because if you have found one person that has come to join you, that is a success. So everyone has one, right? So what I want you to do is think back to one of your most favorite successes, whether it's your first rank, or you found someone that wants to do this with you, or something. Think about that feeling for a minute. And if you have your notebook, you could write that down. Like, how did you feel? Where were you? Who was with you? I love that. Got my senior gold magnet. Yay. That's a huge piece. So think of your success, the one that you've had that you're like, whether you think it's big or small, it doesn't matter. It's yours. So hold on to that and write that down. And then I also want you to think of something that didn't go so well. You don't have to write this one down, but think of it. Think of something that you're like, your low moments. Because I know, if you're anything like me, this business in the past 10 years is not a straight line to success. Everything is a roller coaster. People, you hear people say that all the time, right? So everyone has had a huge peak. Everyone has had a huge failure as well, or a low moment. In Carol's call last week, that was awesome. There's a lot of points I'm going to touch on with Carol's call. So yay for that. So whether it be like, oh my gosh, my win was I had this runner and it was amazing. And then 6 months later, that same runner got captured by aliens and is no longer. You are not alone with those. Okay. But the reason why I want to talk with you guys about it is because the people that you are connected to in all of those specific moments, you could probably feel it, know the date, know where you were, what you were wearing, because that was a big moment, right? Now I want you to think, let's see, how about Whitney? How about, do you guys know what Whitney's best one was, her biggest moment? How about Tamara's? Do you guys know? You probably don't. You probably don't. You know why? Because you are not them. You don't have, you aren't, that's their story. And we love you, Whitney and Tamara. So I'm using you as an example, but you are not them. They have their own successes. They have their own failures. That is their story, not yours. So before we go any further, do not attach their successes to what your journey should look like, because that is not fair to you. That is definitely not fair to Whitney and Tamara, because that puts a lot of weight on their shoulders, but everybody is different. So let's go back to the whole Mother's Day thing. I have 4 kids. They're 12, 15, 16, and 17. And they're so different, but they're wicked close in age. And they've been through this business with me for 10 years. But my oldest is a senior and she's graduating and she's going off for art animation and all of that. That is her thing, right? super great, successful. She's so excited and happy. My 16-year-old, I forget he's 16, is the sports guy, soccer player, all, he has wear all the fashion, all the things. These two children are so opposite. It would not be fair of me to look at my son Sam's successes, that he should go to animation school. He should follow my daughter Lydia's successes. That's not fair to anyone. So before we go any further, do not look at anybody else's story like you should be. My two worst words in the English language, I see that Denise is on here, is should. I hate the word should. I should. Don't should yourself, and don't should all over yourself. That is the worst, right? That I'm telling you, and we'll get to the whole should part in a little bit. So anyway, the whole other people's successes. What we're gonna do today is really take some of the pieces of Carol's stuff, and those, she gave a lot of objective, really great things to do. And those work really, really well for her. And honestly, most of those things are going to work for everybody. It's the consistency that's going to be the key. And there's little parts of it that we're going to talk about it. So anyway, yes, we want to cheer everybody on. We want to cheer Whitney on and Tamara on and all of their successes, but don't use that as a comparison. So one other thing, if you know me, I know it, you guys know I love analogies. I have to share this one because it hit me the other day. I'm a huge plant person, love plants. All over my house, love plants. And I had this one plant. I borrow little clippings from Lowe's sometimes when I'm walking by. Or my friends give me little clippings and I grow my own plants, right? This one friend gave me a plant, put it in my pot, and it was there for 8 months. It did not grow. It was a jade plant, didn't grow. It wasn't dead, but it wasn't growing. It was just in this pot forever, and it was driving me crazy. So I would move the location, still wouldn't grow, still wouldn't grow. So what I did with this plant, and I'm doing like, this was the size of the plant, and it was small like this, but the pot was like this. And I'm like, you know what? Forget it. This is it. Taking this out of the dang pot, cleaning it all out. And I gave him this teeny tiny little pot because it wasn't growing. Like, that's it, this little pot, that's all you get. And I put it on the shelf, and I did the same stuff, same location, watered the same, all the things. This sucker grew like nobody's business. It was this high before, and in not even 2 months, it grew like this. You know why? Because it's not the plant's fault that it didn't grow. It's not your fault that you're not growing. It's the environment. So you can't blame yourself for your successes or failures or anything. You can't blame just you. It's the environment. So taking this little guy out of his pot, put him in a smaller one. I gave him a smaller pot so that the roots will grow strong. Once your roots grow strong, the plant will flourish. And I know this, so I had to think of this for myself. So for you, if you feel like you are stuck, if you are comparing, if you just don't know what to do next, what I would love for you to do is look at your environment, stop a beat, stop a minute, look at what's around you, look at what's working and what's not. Let's go back to your successes, that huge, great success that you had, where you were, where you felt the best, that you're like, oh, I got this business. I'm doing it. I'm doing the things. Now think, what was one thing in that environment that was great for that success day? Was it a certain person? Were you consistently reaching out to people? Were you consistently posting? Were you just in a great mind space that when you did post or reach out, that you wrote a certain way? You lead with the business rather than lead with the product. Think about that. Then with that great success is what I would love for you to just think about the thing that didn't work. Like, oh yeah, that probably didn't. I made a mistake here. I don't know if I'm being too obscure. You can yell at me if you think, okay, I'm not making sense, because sometimes in my head I make sense, but then when I put it out there, I kind of don't. But okay. So think of your successes and the things that were going well that you want to carry into this new phase of yours. For me, I've been in this for 10 years. What I did 10 years ago, I went emerald in like 8, 9 months or something crazy like that. But that was 9 years ago. What worked 9 years ago is not going to work for us now. And it's not my fault, just like it's not my plant's fault. It's my environment's fault because I need something different. What we need to do is take away all the extraneous junk, all that extra dirt. You don't need all the dirt. You don't need everything. You don't need other people's successes. You need just your bubble. And once you have your own safe space of things that you know work, and just do them well. Okay. So what, um, hold on, I got to go to my notes because sometimes I get off on there. Okay. So with pulling back and regrouping, let's go back to, I don't know if you saw Carol's thing. Wait, let me, oh yes, the trainings. If you saw Carol's call from last week, if not, we can re-put it up again or put it, your teams will, because she talked a lot about the things that we all know work. Getting your list of people, reaching out to those people. Alleluia, when she said the follow up and all the things. So high five, thank you, all of that, because this is a relationship business. And most often it's a storytelling business. That's why I love analogies, because now you know, just from this call, that you know I have 4 kids, one likes soccer, one's an art kid, I like plants. Those are things about me that you will attach to me from now on, right? So you'll remember me for that. So you finding your stories, telling your stories, you will be unforgettable when you have something more about yourself than just plexus. That's first and foremost. Be a human, not weird. Tell your stories. And yes, that is exactly the next piece. And remember who your audience is. Just in the very beginning, like Whitney and Tamara's successes and all that, they are not where I live. I'm in upstate New York. We are very harsh Italian people that are very different than the Southern crew. I can't do the same things. I have to do them differently because my audience would know if I ever said y'all, they would say, well, that's just not the right, that's not even close. And I still do love the sweet tea. I will, that, even though, yes, it's not the Southern sweet tea. Anyway, so let's get back to, oh yeah, good. The successes. You will know that what will work for you is when you find out where you want to go with the business. Not everybody wants to be diamond, and that's okay. Not everybody should. You don't need to. But what you really need to do is find out where you want to go, whether it's a certain amount a month. Say, oh, I want to make $3,000 a month, then I could stop my day job. Or I want a certain size team, or I would love a certain amount of leaders. Whatever your goal, your focus is, again, it's not anybody else's but yours. And once you find out where you want to go, everything else has to go away. We have so many things that could help you along the way that sometimes it's too much. We have the Silver and Six, we have all of the trainings by corporate, we have calls here, you have your team calls, you have messenger events, Sunday night events. There's so many things. If you feel like, oh my God, I have to plug into everything, you will get burnt out and you will spend your time only building yourself up and not actually doing your business. So first and foremost, write it all down. What, and I really want you guys to sit back, think about it for a little bit. What do you really want from this business? Do you want to hit emerald to go to Hawaii? That's not a bad thing. It could be anything, but your successes are yours, not anybody else's. So exactly, Whitney, it's when you have that clarity of what you want, everything else could be a distraction from what you want to do each day. So when you focus on that, everything else becomes very crystal clear. So we had to read a book called 10x is easier than 2x. If you're going to convention, I do know that Jessica Heffley is going to do a training on this because she read, a lot of people have read it, but she was the one that said, oh my gosh, this is great. It really is an amazing book. It's very, yay, Megan, she bought it. It's very heavy. It's very thought provoking. Yes, it's very deep. So you might have to listen to it, read it a couple times. I read a couple of the chapters 3-4 times, but I'm glad she talks about it. It's really great. I think everybody should, because all it talks about, it really does make sense. When you are so crystal clear about what you want, everything else that doesn't apply to where you want to go, it's so clear that no, I don't want to do that. No, I'm not going down that road. I'm not going to go on that call because that's not going to help me. When you start to do it, read it, and things become clear, you will definitely feel like you have more time, because we know everybody's working and we really value your time. That there's only 24 hours in a day. You got work and kids and all the things. This will help you focus. So yes, it's Lisa says it's easier to be 10x full throttle than four times lesser than it. I know I was spinning my wheels doing the same things for a while because I know they worked before, so they should work again. It doesn't work that way. So what I suggest for everybody is to stop, take a minute, write down where you want to go, what you want from this business. And again, it doesn't have to be diamond. It could be double diamond and then some. But once you figure that out and get clear, then you go back to Carol's call and you say, here are my people that I want to reach out to. And you know what? Out of that list of 10, 20, 100 people that you want to reach out to, I bet you there's people on there that you're like, I really don't want to reach out to that person. And that's okay. Because when you find the people that you want to work with, your life becomes happy, easier, and you're not chasing people. You're helping them along and you're attracting them because you're coming from a whole different vibe. That whole scarcity and the need for people all the time. We don't need 10, 20, 30 people a month. You need a few that do it well. So I hope that I wasn't too out there with it. I really, you guys know what to do. We really do. It's a people business. You have to speak to people. Posting and praying does not work unless you're writing a book and telling all the people exactly what, but even that, it doesn't work. Reaching out, talking to people and telling them the biggest thing lately. So many people are saying, I can't afford it. We know the objections. We know all of that. 99.9% people say that they can't afford it because we know the environment and fiscal issues right now. So going back to Whitney's point, is talking about the business and not just say, hey, come join my team, because that sounds weird, feels weird. We're not going to be weird. We're not. We're going to say, this is an opportunity for you to bring money into your home in a different way. Let's just chat. Spend time with the quality people to do that. And I guarantee it will flip things around for you. So yes, make it normal. And then the business, oh my gosh, a couple of my girlfriends that work at school, they just got laid off from school. We made an appointment. We're going to have some coffee and we're just going to sit and chat. So we can do this. If I can do it, if you guys can do it, your friends can too. And then, yes, it's not even default to the products that goes with it. But yes, this is a great business and you're going to feel great while you do it. That's how I always talk about it. So, but I would love to open up for questions or comments, concerns, or any of those things. And I don't know if I would have questions because there wasn't anything specific, but go ahead, Lise.
So I always have something to say, y'all know that. So I just expect it. I'm just whatever. But I was talking to my coach today and she told me that you got to make we're talking about the money aspect of it, right? We all know everybody needs margin in their budget, right? And I've been a constant product sharer for 10 plus years. I have not been a constant business sharer. I haven't. And she's like, well, why not? And I was like, I guess it's because I'm comfortable at sharing the products, because that's honestly the way I was taught. But 10 and a half years in, you think light bulb would just, I've gotten it. But she told me, you've got to make it normal. So after they get signed up, the next step, you've got to make it normal to where you talk about, okay, let's get your products paid for. A lot of people will go into this for the first month wanting to use the products. And then the second month, it's kind of like, that's not in their budget. You've got to commit to at least 90 to 120 days. So we don't want finances to get in your way. So the next step, you got to make it normal in your sign up process. Okay, now let's get your products paid for, right? And that's where I have not been consistent on doing. So you're speaking to the choir right here with me. So, you just got to make it normal. You got to make the money aspect and talk about the money. Like Whitney says, she leads with the business. You've got to talk about the money, you guys. Money is not icky anymore. People need money.
And
10
that's
and a
the
half
thing
years,
that the products honestly is the extra.
Yeah.
The products are the extra. Before
bonus.
it was flip-flop 10 years ago, it was the products were the default and then the business was extra.
Right.
That's
right.
not what it's like anymore.
Right.
Business is needed, products are extra.
Right.
But
Right.
sincerely, the plant analogy, when I was pumped with this plant, because I took everything else away. That's what I want you guys to take everything else away. Don't feel that you got to do everything, because you're going to get burnt out, fried, and taking that step back is a big thing. And then it will be very clear. Go ahead, Whitney.
I just got to add to that, because I love that you're making that point. Because here's something that I've realized and seen a lot, especially this past year. It was so eye-opening to me to, when I heard the quote that, like, when you don't have clarity, it's hard to tell the difference between a distraction and an opportunity. And I think consistently what I see, and I am so guilty of this too, but I've been really aware of it lately. And I've been saying no to things left and right, trainings, like, opportunities to go to events and things like that, because what I've discovered is, I think one of the biggest issues, at least for my team, is we are consumers, but then we don't apply. There's constantly so many good things that we can be consuming that it feels like we're working and it feels like we're growing, but all we're doing is consuming, and we're not actually applying any of it. You know what I mean? And that's such an issue. So, like, literally, I've just been trying to put on the brakes and apply all the good things that I've learned, and like, what is the best fit for me? Forget everything else. Stop. Too much noise, too much fluff. And it's just, that's the game changer.
Yeah, it's true, Whitney, because your head gets all discombobulated and you're like, you got this process and this over here and this over here and this over here. And you're like, where do I even begin? Instead of focusing.
Right, because it all sounds great.
Right. Right. I mean, it's all good. There's all good content here, and this person has good content, but you got to pick something that's going to speak to you and do it. Because if you
speak
get
to your
all
audience.
if you get all the trainings in your head, you can do all the book reading, all the trainings in your head, you're just spinning yourself in a circle and you're just not going to ever go anywhere. Yeah.
Oh, Jen, when she said squirrel, I am the squirrel, man. I am the squirrel, because all these wonderful things. I'm like, oh, guys, let's try this. Oh, let's try this. We have so many things that getting burnt is a real thing. But don't feel that just because you're burnt means that you get tossed and you're done. No, you can just pause, regroup. I'm telling you, that 10X book brings so much clarity. I love it. I loved that.
Yeah. So. And I've got notebooks filled with things that I've taken from conventions and rallies and all the things. And when I get home, it's like so overwhelming because
Yeah.
there's so many ideas that I don't even know where to start. So I do nothing. But then there's a training that you can sign up for and I'm all over it. You know what I mean? Like, how many of us are guilty of that when we don't even actually apply what we've learned, and we don't stick with something long enough to really see the fruits of it, because
Right.
then there's always this new idea that we're going to try over here, and we don't stick with just the basics. It's always the basics that work. And that's what Carol reminded us. And it's so brilliant. You know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to slow down to speed up and just be like,
100%. So, and I seen Megan's face that your call a while ago, that was amazing. That stuck with me. So thank you for that. What I would love for you guys to do, find the people on your list. What are their issues? 99.9%, it's going to be financial. You don't need special wording. That's what the Megan call you. You don't need all the special wording. You need to speak to your friends the way that you normally do, not the way anybody else does, and be clear, honest. And if you don't have a success story that you feel that you want to share with others, you can use other people's success stories and say, this is an option. This is to show that this business does work. But I will never forget the day that I hit diamond. I'm like, I look nothing like any diamond on at all. Coming from New York, there was none. It was a whole different path. You can create whatever path you want, and it doesn't have to be like anybody else's. That's the best part. So
Yep. I would love to see the raise of hands who has notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks and notebooks of things. Raise your hand. You have all the things. And then you're like, what the heck do I do with it? Whitney has 2 hands. I love Whitney. She's just squirrel like me. We're like, oh yeah, we'll do this. So it's time to stop, pause. Like Kathleen said, find something that's going to work for you and stick with it, right?
and bottom line, it's talking to people. That is it. If we don't see, yes, they always say posting on Facebook. Oh, I know we have to stop posting. So we know your shop is open. If you talk to enough people, they will know your shop is open.
That's good.
So don't stress over that as
Yeah.
much as not talking to a new person every single day.
Yeah, that's good. That is so good. Does anybody have any questions before we end? Are we doing any kind of giveaway tonight?
Absolutely.
Okay, go for it then.
All right. So out of all the things, I would love for you guys to put in your in the comments really fast. I know you guys got to go. Is what is your one focus? What are you going to focus on? Oh, wait, no, I'm gonna pull that back. I'm just gonna ask a silly one. Anyway, let's just do the numbers then. Oh, you are putting them in there. You guys are the greatest. Hold on. What is your focus? What are you thinking? You got to regroup. Let's do that because you guys are already answering it, and I love these.
Oh, I love what Jennifer said. Focus is business as. Yeah, because see, Jennifer, we all grew up in the same. We kind of like all Whitney and and Candy and Tasha and probably even Jenny. We all grew up with product pushers, right?
Yeah.
And
there's
not
nothing
really,
wrong with it back in the day.
right? There was nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. And now we've got to do business pushers.
Yep.
Yep.
In a way that feels good to you.
Yep. Yep. Genuine and real. That's right.
All right. So out of these, I'm gonna spin my comments. I like it. Keep them coming because I'm gonna spin the comments and touch one, and that's who's gonna win. Hold on.
Whitney, what did you
Janelle.
learn from me?
What?
Whitney says she learns probably being unorganized.
no, feed myself first.
Oh yeah.
You remember when that was a while ago.
Yeah.
But I needed to hear that.
Yeah. Yay.
Yeah. I did. do. Janelle Gessinger. Hoping. All right, Janelle. Send me a message, or the leader, whomever it is, send me a message and I will get your address and send something out to you guys. The very last thing before we get off, you are not broke.